wanted to talk about the latest Darren Aronofsky film, Mother, with an exclamation point. And boy, I tell you, the exclamation point says it all right there.
Oh, no kidding.
So I got a quick little story to tell first before we jump into our own thoughts and reactions. So Julia and I went and saw it, and I had such a visceral reaction when the film was over. Like, the people sitting right in front of us, they were standing up, and they're like, one person said, "That was the worst movie I have ever seen." And then this other guy said, "Boy, I didn't follow any of that, did you?" And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And so then I was a little annoyed by that. And so then we were walking out, and I asked Julia, I'm like, what did you think? And you kind of had a mixed to negative reaction. And I immediately jumped down her throat.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I was a complete dick to Julia, so I would like to publicly apologize for my behavior.
Thank you.
But yeah, I mean, my God, like that is such a beautiful film. I know that there's a lot of people out there that don't understand what it's about, but I think I've listened to enough people now talk about it to fully understand, or at least 90% of it. But first, do you guys not leave your opinion out of it? Did you guys just understand what was going on?
When I first saw Mother, I honestly thought it was a statement on artists versus art and the creativity process of what goes on into it. And like there was the crowd that wanted to see the poet. I thought that was just kind of a statement about fame and the trappings of fame and wanting and us, the consumer, wanting more and more and more from the artist. And partially another aspect I thought, which I still think, is that it's also a statement about how women or muses are who do help, who are just as influential in creating art, are usually overlooked and or just straight up neglected and almost abused by us as a patriarchal society.
Yeah, is that now, Daniel? Is that the take that you had too?
I actually did have a similar reaction, very much like Jonathan's. I thought when I was watching it that it was about like the creativity process. You know, somebody being like a rock star or some other very overcome creative figure. I assumed that was So can I ask you, Al, a question, and then I'll just give you more of my reaction after I hear from you. Sure. Did you know about the biblical stuff before you saw it, Al?
I think I listened to a review of it, and I started hearing about the allegories that I'm like, oh, damn. You know, and then it all started making total sense. But yeah, prior to that, all I had known was that it was supposedly about the Bible.
Right. Well, okay. So my reaction, I did not know that until later. Now I have learned, in preparation for this podcast. Technically, the kind of claustrophobia that they were doing, I would call it a sort of an exercise in radical subjectivity, the way they frame, Jennifer Lawrence in the film. It's not totally unlike the way Natalie Portman was shot in Black Swan, but it feels like he took it up even a notch from that, in terms of crazily kind of being in her face, or over her shoulder everywhere they go. I mean, obviously Lawrence had no off days. There was no time when it was like, oh, hey, here's a call time where I don't have to be on set. No. Mm-hmm. I mean, that clearly it was all her. And I mean, I think it does work as a stylistic exercise. I think it's okay. But I also had a feeling like if you didn't know the Bible stuff, like Jonathan and I didn't know it coming in, and like Julia didn't know it, I feel like Mother, if you don't know that it's a Bible story, I don't know. It like I'm watching it going, okay, I don't know this is the Bible. At the end, they're all ripping apart his house. They're literally ripping the phone off the wall. They're ripping the shingles off and suddenly Kristen Wiig calls for somebody to be killed. I mean, it's outrageous. It doesn't work on a narrative level. It might work on a stylistic one, but it's stupid. I mean, it wouldn't happen that way. And you know what I mean? Like, it has to be something almost supernatural. So then you're thinking, okay, what did they leave for clues? I guess in my opinion, it didn't reach the level of its own internal consistency like those other movies did for me. I mean, look, if you want to tell me it's brilliant and I'm an idiot, that's totally fine. It would be nothing I haven't heard before. I wanted a movie that kind of stands up for itself, and I felt like it didn't quite do that, although I did admire the filmmaking of it,
Mm-hmm.
You want my take on it?
Yes.
Yes.
Right. It's one of those films where when you watch it, you're thinking, oh, this is a masterpiece. And then you're thinking, oh, no, maybe not. Oh, it is. Oh, no, it's not. So I'm right now, I still don't know how I feel about it. I definitely am not one of these people that says they hate it. I definitely don't hate it.
I didn't hate it.
And it's a good point about the Bible stuff and the... It's about... I think it's about, obviously, that we worship God and destroy the earth, basically. And if people don't understand that...
Robin, sorry to interrupt you. Did you know about the Bible allegory before you saw the movie?
I knew there was parts of that. I knew, obviously, that Aronofsky... I'm not sure he's a fan of the Bible, but he likes to put it in there. The same way, I suppose, more subtly, Paul Thomas Anderson likes to put a bit of Bible in there. Magnolia, for example, which is a big example. Mm-hmm. But this one, yeah. And people are gonna watch this and be like, oh, symbolism, so obvious. And I don't think Aronofsky really cares how obvious it is. And that scene at the end, which is extraordinary, when it's like every cut, there's more people in the house, and there's more destruction, and it becomes like a war zone. It's just like stuff we see on the news all the time. It's like it was almost like the last 100 years of history in 5 minutes.
Well, I know you're not that big of a fan either, Julia.
No.
So, do you want to try and elaborate?
Yeah, Julia, help me out, or I don't know.
Well, like I said, when I first saw it, it's the most beautiful, worst movie I've ever seen. I walked into it completely blind, not knowing any of the, religious allegories behind, everything that Darren Aronofsky put on the screen, which was, the movie was beautifully shot.
Okay, if it makes you feel any better, I saw this with my mother, and she hated it.
Oh my god!
Whoa.
Yikes!
Seriously.
Yell at you after this?
No, she didn't yell at me. She's like, I don't want to see that movie again.
I
just want to watch a newborn baby get eaten by a crowd again? I don't know what. Your mom's weird. I don't know.
So, for this episode of Filmotomy podcast, and we hope all you listeners continue to follow us, and we're all on Twitter, and as far as I know, we're all on Facebook as well. And just go to filmotomy.com and read all the good stuff that Robin is posting there.